G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new video, a little bit of an experiment. Let's jump straight into it and I'll explain everything that's going on, but here's a little thing for you guys. Do you guys remember this? That is the classic dulcet tones of the Channel 4 Italian football. Now, Italian football, if you've been sleeping under a rock, is some of the most famous defensive football going. But the Italian team itself hasn't had that much success if we go and have a look at what they have achieved. So in previous competitions, if we have a look at the history, competitions wise, so World Cup they last won in 2006, and the Euros they last won in 2021. Okay, fairly recently, only 4 years ago during the pandemic time. But besides that, not a lot. Even their under 21s, their under 19s, they've come close a few times, but nothing really major. It's a little bit of a far cry from where they had these absolutely monumental teams back in the late 90s, early noughties, before the downfall of Italian football. And what I've decided to do is I am constructing a team at Atalanta purely focused on Italian football and raising Italy up to hopefully be either Euros or World Cup winners. That is the intention. So let me explain. Quick rules. Italian players only. Italian staff only, if possible, as well. No under 32s. I know the Italians like to last forever until like they're almost 40 and playing, but that's not going to happen. I need the younger players, so nobody under the age of 32. I'm going to do a 5-year rebuild of sorts with Atalanta, and I'll show you in a second. And also, I'm going to do a 5-year extra simulation or 5-year plus to incorporate European Championships and World Cups to see if Italy, what I do with this Atalanta team, can provide the foundation for Italy to go on and win European competitions or the world competition. So let's go into it. I have made some adjustments. So Atalanta I picked because they have absolutely fantastic facilities, but I didn't want to go for one of the big teams. I wanted to go for what I consider to be the sleeper teams, and Atalanta in real life are definitely one of the sleeper teams. Gasparini has them ticking at the moment, and they are an extremely good team. But that being said, the squad was well mixed with a blend of European and Italian players. I couldn't let that happen, and as you can see, I have virtually an entirely Italian squad, bar Chiarodia, and I'll show you in a second. I've moved a lot of people around, and Lucas Romain, who is Argentinian, and Chiarodia is German. But they have dual nationality, so that is allowed. They are Italian, but they have dual nationality, and they've decided to pick Germany and Argentina as their representation. But the rest of them are all Italian. And you'll see some of these names here and go, they're not in the Italian squad. No. What I did was I picked out the best up-and-coming Italian talent off the Wonder Kid list that is on the FM Scout website, and I picked all the Italian players. So I picked 2 goalkeepers. These 2 here, Martinelli and Nunezante, have both come in. Very young goalkeepers, but they'll do. They will do. In fact, I believe... don't know. Ah, there he is, because I had it on unavailable. Carnesecchi is also obviously 23 years old and is a very highly rated goalkeeper at Atalanta and Italy. Defenders wise, obviously they already have one there who is an absolute wonder kid on the game. Scalvini is in, but I brought in Coppola. Where is he? Diego Coppola there. I've brought in Chiarodia, who I've already alluded to, and Filippo Mane as well. These were the best rated centre backs on the Wonder Kid list. What I've done, I've taken the best ones that I can off the list to keep it fairly even. Left backs wise, well, they already had Matteo Ruggeri, or Ruggeri, however you pronounce it. I was tempted to bring in Destiny Udogie, but I thought better of it because I didn't want to reduce Ruggeri's game time. So the next best option was Bartasaghi, who is out on loan at the moment to get some more game time. He is at Pisa for the season, but even at 17 years old, this kid is good at left back, really good. Right backs, I went for Coyote and Missouri, so they're both in, both very young. They'll be behind Zappa Costa this season, I'm presuming. He's 31, so he hasn't been moved out yet. Rossi is 32, he'll be going at the end of the season. Defensive midfielders. Some favourites in here. Giacomo Faticanti is one, but he is on loan at Ternana. Is that how you put it? Ternana? Again, very good defensive midfielder at that age of 19. And also Alessandro Bianco, who, again, I've sent out on loan to Reggiana. I think he needs a little bit more work. I don't know how well he's going to make it. But we start getting into the interesting ones now. So the centre of midfield, I've gone for Giovanni Fabian, who is phenomenal at the age of 20. And he was at Regina and is now at Atalanta and will support my midfield. Very good midfielder. Fabio Moretti, the Juventus midfielder in real life. Again, absolute baller on this game. Very, very good player. And also Tommaso Baldanzi. Brought him back in from Empoli, I believe. I believe he's actually gone to Roma in real life. I've used him before in this game and he's a very, very good player. So I'm very happy to have him in the side. Another one was Matteo Prati, who was at Spal and Ravenna beforehand, but another central midfielder, defensive central midfielder, very good all round and got a lot of potential. So let's see how he can get on. Out on the wing and the attackers now. Get off the screen. So, Luis Hatter. Not a player I've ever heard of and has a lot of building to do. So I don't know how well he's going to do in the team because, unfortunately, he is going to be behind the likes of Nonto, who I've brought in from Leeds. Absolutely rapid. Everybody knows Nonto. He's excellent on this game. And also Vignato, however you pronounce it. I don't think he's going to get much game time behind Nonto either. But there was, of course, one striker I wanted to bring in, but I've kept him out on loan this season, and that was Esposito. He's going to stay at Spezia for this season, get some game time. I've got Scamacca up front, plus Raviglioli, who has been brought in as well as part of that list. But whether he'll get any game time, I don't know. But as I say, all this was done on the editor, so I've not spent any money. It looks like there's a lot of transfers, but there actually isn't. So, tactically wise, I've gone for the traditional 4-3-3, one striker up front. This midfield option may get tweaked, I don't know. We'll see how we do in the first season. Staff-wise, as I said, I've gone for, as best as I can do, a full Italian squad. Obviously, I'm English, so not Italian, but the rest of it is Italian. And then I've got one Scottish coach, one Austrian and one American. My technical director is Welsh, but the rest of my scout department is Italian. I've got one physio who's Moroccan. The rest of my medical team is Italian. And virtually all my youth staff are Italian as well. So you can see the theme here. I'm champion in Italy. Let's see how far we can get them going. We're going to go and simulate the first season, show you a couple of highlights, see how we get on. Let's jump into it and see what happens. Well, in season number 1, we won the first 6 of our 7 games and thought everything was going rosy. A 4-0 versus Verona, some smashing goals in this game. A 5-1 versus Cagliari. A 2-0 win versus Inter Milan. Annoyingly, losses like a 6-0 versus AC Milan, a 2-0 versus Juventus, and a 3-1 loss to Napoli cost us dearly in the long run, as we ended up finishing our first season in Serie A in 5th place at the Europa League qualification. The Coppa Italia was a little bit more disappointing again. We got past Pisa and Cremonese, but then got dispatched resoundingly by AC Milan over both legs. Going into Europe, we absolutely breezed through the group stage and ended up facing Benfica, who unfortunately beat us on penalties to knock us out of the Europa League. There was one standout player to the season though, and that was Lucas Romain, who absolutely tore it up, getting 19 goals and 10 assists this season. Well, you know, as first seasons go, that's not too bad. I'm reasonably happy with that. Okay, we've missed out on the Champions League qualification by a point, but it's not too bad. Our young players actually started to gel reasonably well. Okay, the average ratings weren't the best. Some of the results weren't the best either. We did have a couple of sticky patches around here, October, November time. We did actually start the season really, really well. But overall, I think the youthfulness of our squad let us down a little bit, and I don't even think the experience of Scamacca and Zappacosta could have helped us a little bit. But even still, not bad performances overall from some of the players. Whereas some of them, Lucas Roman, really, really good performances. So he's going to turn out to be a very, very pivotal player for us. 19 goals, 10 assists this season. Very good performances. Nonto, 15 and 5. Esposito got 11 at Spezia, which ain't too bad. Prati got 11 and 4. Fabian got 11 and 8. Scamacca was the disappointing one. And tactically wise, I did actually change it. In the end, I went for a 4-2-3-1 with him as a complete forward, and it just didn't work. So, will Scamacca stick around? Well, let's go and jump into season number 2. Let's see what happens. Season 2 started off really, really well. A 4-2 win versus Parma, a 3-2 win versus Inter Milan, coupled with batterings of Sassuolo 5-0 and a 4-0 hammering of Roma, plus only losing 2 games before Christmas, stood us in really, really good stead. More frustratingly though, it was our form in the middle part of the season, especially February, that cost us yet again, as we ended up finishing 4th this time, but qualifying for the Champions League in Serie A. The Coppa Italia, though, I'd rather not talk about, as we left early thanks to Genoa beating us 2-1. In the Europa League, we struggled quite a lot as we went into the knockout rounds, and we actually beat Celtic 4-1 in the first leg. But inexcusably, we managed to throw it away in the second leg and got battered 5-0, ended up losing the tie 6-4. It wasn't all doom and gloom though. Simone Profundi was one of the standout performers with 9 goals and 11 assists. Also, Willy Nonto with 9 and 12 during the season, and Esposito had a blinding first season with 22 goals and 6 assists, as well as picking up the European Golden Boy Award. So we're fast forwarded all the way to the end of season 2. I've shown you a few highlights of what actually happened. Not too bad. Small baby steps and progress being made. Before I show some of the other highlights and the results going on, obviously the transfer budget, I'm not going to show you too much of the transfer history because I'm not buying that many players at the moment. Scamacca did end up going at the end of the first season, and that was really the biggest one. A lot of them, again, were just young loans. If we have a look at the squad, though, this season, Esposito had his first season up front, and he did well. 22 goals, 6 assists as the main striker, and his progress is incredible at the moment. I love this striker on the game. He's brilliant. Giovanni Fabian, 11 goals and 3 assists again. 10 from Baldanzi, 10 from Cambiaghi, who has come out of nowhere. Now that all our loanees are returned, some of them have gone back out again, but he's another one that's sticking around. But I believe he could actually produce a few things for us. Could do. I don't know. We'll see. Profundi is back from loan as well, and he got 9 and 11. Nonto got 9 and 12, but he is unhappy and now wants to move to a bigger squad. I'm trying to keep hold of the big players. Scalvini, Nonto, they're already starting to make little jibes about wanting to move on to bigger squads, so I need to, basically in this season number 3, I need to make sure that we progress this team enough to keep them around, otherwise the whole experiment is just going to go. Who else had a good season? Romain had a good season again, 8 and 10. Moretti, 3 and 4, 27 stars. You know, it's not bad. Scalvini, again, yeah, he's unhappy like Nonto, but it's absolutely incredible for a 21-year-old. Competitions-wise, I mean, that's disappointing. Genoa should not be beating us there, and Celtic, quite frankly, shouldn't be beating us there, so that's disappointing in itself. Tactically, still the same. I'm going to keep it as that. That's what I want to work towards. Staff-wise, we've had a few more staff coming in, a couple of Scottish coaches coming in, and I've actually got a new assistant manager. Sad times, I had to go for an assistant manager because my other one retired. So the best option was Pablo Sanz. I know, not Italian. There's nothing I could do. He was the best option I could go for. Well, after 2 seasons and not winning anything, can we win something in season 3? Well, let's scoot ahead. I'll show you a few of the highlights. Find out what happens. Season number 3 started with a bang. Again, only losing 2 before Christmas, recording a 6-0 win over Fiorentina, which was absolutely amazing. A 4-0 win over Bologna. But, yet again, it's the same old story. February ended up costing us yet again, with loss after loss after loss, and we ended up finishing in the league table 3rd place again, but with Champions League qualification sealed. Esposito, however, did have a blinding season, securing the Golden Boot with 23 goals this season. In Europe, it was the Champions League time, and it was very hit and miss. We ended up facing Spurs in the knockout round, who we beat 3-1 in the first leg, and then ended up throwing it all away again in the second leg, getting beaten 3-0 and knocked out 4-3. But we finally did have some success in the Coppa Italia. After beating AC Milan in the semi-finals 4-1, we went on to the final to face Inter Milan, who in a close game ended up 1-1, but thanks to Lee Kangin missing a penalty, it ended up meaning we secured the title. Esposito was one of the main players again this season with 29 goals, along with Lucas Romain again with 13 goals and 9 assists. But there was also drama with Scalvini and Nonto both handed in transfer requests to leave the club. What is going to happen? So here we are, the end of season 3, and that is utterly devastating. We've missed out on the league by 2 points. 2 points this season. We were so close to winning the league. I just can't seem to beat AC Milan on this game. It's really annoying. But to win the Coppa Italia in our 3rd season, with such a young squad that are now starting to gel together, and we've got Champions League football coming in. Hopefully that will help a lot. But also a couple of other things did happen. So I'll show you the under-21s championship. So the under-21s, past history, past winners, was France and Switzerland being held in Slovakia. But if we have a look at the group stages, Italy didn't do too bad. They qualified top of the group, 3 wins from 3. They went through to the quarterfinals where they played Turkey and they beat Turkey. They got to the semi-finals and got beat by Switzerland, which is a damn shame. But not that awards, best player, Dream Team. We did have a few players in the Dream Team. Esposito, main striker. DeAndrea out on the wing. And Ruggeri out on the left back, as well as Wisdom Amy, Teresiano, and Fabio Moretti on the subs bench as well. So all in all, 6 players, Italian players, picked into the under-21s Dream Team is actually quite a good sign. I'm quite happy with that. Goal of the tournament, 2 of them Italian. Fabian and Ruggeri got both 1st and 2nd place. Brilliant. And the Golden Boot went to Romeo Bene, and unfortunately no Italian players were even near that. That's a little bit disappointing. But that being said, I think progress is being made. The under-20, obviously they didn't get to the final and they didn't win it, but players are starting to show what they can do. And now we're on 2026, so when I zip forward another season, I'll have to look back at, I think it's the World Cup. I will have a look at the World Cup on the following season. So let's go and zip ahead to season number 4. I'll show a few highlights of what is going on. Fingers crossed Italy can actually do something in the World Cup 2026. Let's find out. Again, season 4 started off with a bang. A 2-0 win versus AC Milan, a 4-0 win versus Lazio, and a 2-1 win versus Juventus stood us in good stead. Again, only losing 2 games before Christmas. But yet again, we threw away the league with a poor after Christmas form, and we only qualified for the Champions League again, way off the title pace. In the Champions League, we did manage to beat PSG 2-1 and Leipzig 5-2, but our form was so erratic we couldn't make it any further than the knockout rounds against Valencia, who humbled us 4-1 on aggregate. The Coppa Italia again, though, however, was a story of success, getting past Sassuolo, Bologna and Juventus to make it to another Coppa Italia final against our arch rivals AC Milan, who we actually ended up beating 2-0 in the final to secure our second Coppa Italia. Okay, so at the end of season 3, I said I was going to have a look at the World Cup of 2026. Obviously, we're a year past that now, and I wanted to see how Italy got on in the World Cup. And past winners, Norway. Won it. Haaland. It has to be Haaland. He won it. Damn. That's mad. Utterly mad. But if we have a look at all the groups, Italy are nowhere to be seen. They didn't even qualify for the World Cup. That's nuts. Italy didn't even qualify for the World Cup. So that puts the experiment back, because now we've got another year to go before we go to the Euros in 2028. And but on the domestic side of things, not looking too bad. Okay, we're 6 points off the league, but we did win the Italian Cup again, so that's another Coppa Italia in the bag. Squad-wise, players are progressing very, very nicely. Esposito, 21-2. Nonto is still with the squad after being unhappy, but now we're getting Champions League football. It's kept him happy, along with Scalvini as well. But Nonto with 20-5. Roman, 11-15. 10-10 from Profundi, who now is really starting to look like an elite player. Really, really good player. Vignato, 10-5. 7-5 from Fabian again, who hasn't actually improved attribute-wise too much, but is still a very, very solid player in the central midfield. Not too bad. Faticanti, not progressing as much as I thought he would do, but he's getting less game time. He did go out on loan to Bari, got a full season there. In his milestones as well, he actually got voted Serie B Young Player of the Year, so that's really good for him as well. But overall, internationally, it's very, very disappointing. So I'm going to have to go on another season, finish off this Atalanta part. Let's go right ahead. Let's have a look at Season 5 and see what we did. Season 5 form was patchy, to say the least. 4-0 versus Roma, going into a patchy September. A 5-0 versus Sampdoria, and a 4-1 versus Fiorentina, followed up by an indifferent March and February, meant we could only secure a third place in the league and not gain the Serie A title. The Coppa Italia was a failure completely as well, getting past Salento in the first round and then knocked out by Napoli 2-0 in the next round. That is an incredibly poor showing. But it was the Champions League this time that was the biggest surprise. A 6-0 win over Man United going into the group stages, where we didn't actually lose a game, securing 5 wins and 3 draws. Then going on to face Chelsea, who we humbled 4-1 in the away leg at Stamford Bridge. We faced Rennes, who we beat 7-3 in the next round of 16. And then we faced Liverpool into the semi-finals, who we ended up knocking out 2-1 to go into the Champions League final, where we went on to face PSG again and ended up winning the Champions League, much to mine and everybody else's surprise, 3-0 in the final. Esposito and gang have secured Atalanta's first ever Champions League trophy. This, of course, was all down to Esposito, who had an absolute storming season, securing the Player of the Season award for the Champions League. He also got second place in the Golden Boot run, only behind the robot that is Haaland. And he also ended up securing the Young Player of the Season award for the Champions League with 14 goals in 14 appearances. Wow, wow, wow. That is unbelievable for the 5th and final season of rebuilding Atalanta in this experiment. Winning the Champions League. That tops off the two proper Italians by far. That winning the Champions League was incredible. And to win it 3-0 against PSG, whilst also, yeah, again, we finished 11 points behind AC Milan, and we still haven't won the league title, and we're not going to now because I'm going to resign after this. But to finish it off with the Champions League title is perfect. Absolutely perfect. A thing that I didn't allude to on Season 4, and I will do now, I have made a few transfers. I have spent a little bit of money. If I go back... Oh, no, wrong way. So, during Season 4, these are all wonder kids as well. So, Franco Pirelli I brought in. Very good player, very good potential ability. Brought him in, 6 million. Dondini from Cesena. Again, great potential. Valued up to 33 million now at 18 years old. Could be to become another Profundi, maybe. Cassati from Genoa, and 6 million signing. Again, I think on his first season, I sent him out on loan, or kept him on loan at Genoa, just to try and get some more game time, but it didn't really work. So he played a lot for our under-23s instead. Then, if we go to this season, the 5th and final season, I brought in a couple of Milan players, and I'm going to come to D'Angelo last, because I believe he was the key for us winning the Champions League. One of the key points that I picked up on was our defensive errors. So I'll come to that in a second. Lorenzo Granelli actually played a lot of games for us this season. 27 starts, 31 from the subs bench, 17 goals, 9 assists for a 19-year-old striker. Oh, this guy could actually challenge Esposito, I think. And I don't say that too often, but this guy actually could. His physicals are mental and his technicals are amazing for a striker. What a regen he is. Manuel Vecchionio. I'm going to butcher some of these names, I'm sorry. Shadow striker. Again, somebody who could dislodge Profundi. Maybe. And finally, this is the one I believe is the key. Carmine D'Angelo. Both-footed centre-back, coming out in the Milan Academy. Age 19. I cannot believe Milan let this kid go. He's valued up to 90 million now. And look at that. He's played 48 games in the first team alongside Scalvini this season, and he is definitely the key for having a strong centre-back partnership. Great pace, balance and stamina. Still learning the game, but still incredible, and technically still getting better as well. What a signing he was for 25 million. And he's valued almost 100 already. It's a no-brainer. Absolutely no-brainer. Now, some of the players who I did sign as well, I did sell or brought in a bit more money. Bianco and Viginato both went to Altar for 35 million in total. Chirodia went to Alweda. And a couple of others. Mane went out on loan. Nunezante went out on loan. Ravagoli went out on loan. So a lot of them still going out on loan. But as it stands, we are now in the European Championship year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resign from this. I'm going to simulate far into the future, a good 5 to 6 years, I would say. See how we get on, well, and then find out, see how Italy got on in their international competitions. Fingers crossed this experiment has worked and we've provided a good foundation for the Italian team. Let's go and find out and see if anything happens. So, we're in 2034. First thing I notice is that Italy are without a manager. And it looks like it's been the European International League that's cost them, because if we have a look at the past winners and go to the previous years, Italy got relegated in 2026. Their run is horrendous. We go back again and go to 2028. Nowhere to be seen. Wow. I mean, that's Division A. What about Division B? All groups. Oh, they couldn't even get out of Division B. Wow. 2030. Division B, still stuck there. Behind. What on earth? I believe the European International League is the Nations League, if I'm correct. Group B, they got promoted on that year. So let's have a look at 2034. Oh, no, I'm looking at all B again. No. I want all groups. All groups. They finished second behind France. Okay, so they managed to stay in the top division, but still absolutely nowhere near. That's a little bit concerning. Now let's go and have a look at, in fact, European Football Championship. There we go. Past winners. So in 2024, France won it. 2028, Ukraine won it? Okay. Let's have a look at all groups. Did they even qualify for the European Football Championship? Yes. Oh my word, they scraped through with one win. Oof. And I'm presuming, second round, where are you? Italy. They got knocked out by the eventual winners, Ukraine. What on earth is going on? This is not what I expected in the slightest. Italy, oh, they qualified top of their group this time, even beating the previous winners. So that's good, which means they went through to the quarterfinals straight away, I think. Or did they? Or is it second round? Let's have a look. Where? Quarterfinals. Where have they gone? England, Portugal, Belgium, Israel, Denmark, Spain, Norway, Austria, Greece, Serbia, Sweden. Sweden knocked them out in a second. Wow. So no European Championships. Let's have a look at the World Cup. Let's have a look at the past winners there. So Norway won it in 2026. We've already established that. 2030 was England. England. Oh dear. Did they even qualify? All groups. Let's have a look. Yes, they did. They qualified for that World Cup, which is good. But second spot, meaning in the second round. Oh my word, that's a lot of... They beat USA 3-0. That's pretty good. Round of 16. They beat Australia 3-0. So they got through to the quarterfinals. And they were knocked out by Argentina. That's disappointing. And then 2034, the World Cup that has just gone. All groups. Obviously, we know they didn't win it. Did they even qualify? Yes, they did. Finished top of their group again. Second round. Let's see if I can find them in this long list of... Oh, they got beat by Holland. Got beat by the Netherlands 2-0 and knocked out. So, there we have it. I think I can call that experiment a bit of a resounding failure, to say the least. That was not how I expected it. Good on the domestic front. An Italian club won the Champions League for the first time since Inter Milan did, which was great. But besides that... Actually, no, I want to double check that. Champions League. Let's have a look at the past winners there. Did anybody else go on to win it from Italy? Holy crap, Atalanta won it again. Okay, domestically, not too bad. In fact, actually, let's have a look at the other European competitions. UEFA, Champions League, Europa League. Let's go have a Europa League. Past winners. Anybody else? Napoli with 2, Juventus with 1. Okay, that's not too bad. And UEFA Conference League. Let's see if we can find that. Something like that. Overview, profile. There we go. Past winners. Brighton, Newcastle. No Italian teams winning the Conference League, but a couple. Well, 3 wins in the Europa League. Atalanta. Weirdly winning another Champions League after I left. Okay, I'm changing my mind on that. It's probably about a 50-50 success rate. Domestically, Italian teams do really well. Internationally, not so well. I'm not entirely sure whether I'm happy with that or not. But the experiment is the experiment, and that is what it is. Please let me know down below if you did enjoy this sort of content and whether you want to see me do it with another country to see if I can improve their international prospects or not using a domestic system. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I know it's a bit of a longer video, but I hope you stuck with it. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to check out all the other content. It's free at the end of the day, and it would really help me out. I've got a target of hitting 500 subscribers before summertime, so it'd be very much appreciated if you could help me out with that. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Ta-ra.